The rain fell in sheets over the shattered skyline of New Kyoto, streaking down the glass domes that sheltered the last remnants of humanity. Beneath the storm, in a hidden lab beneath the city's underbelly, Dr. Laura Voss worked in silence, her hands trembling as she held a vial of shimmering blue liquid, the culmination of 20 years of forbidden science. The label read, Project Ether. It was more than a cure. It was a transformation, one that blurred the line between life and something beyond it. The only person who knew about her work stood across the table, Captain Jackson Meyer, decorated war hero, survivor of the Titan Front, and the man humanity now called the Last Soldier. His cybernetic arm gleamed under the sterile light, its metal frame scarred from decades of war. He looked at her with calm certainty. So this is it. Elara nodded. This serum will rewrite your DNA. You'll survive the atmospheric collapse, the radiation, the biological decay, but you won't be human anymore. Jackson smiled faintly. After everything I've seen, that doesn't sound like a bad trade. Her expression darkened. You don't understand. You won't think like a human. You'll feel everything differently. The serum doesn't just change a body, it changes a mind. He met her gaze evenly. Then maybe humanity deserves to evolve. The world outside had already begun to die. The atmosphere was collapsing from centuries of pollution, and what remained of civilization huddled beneath domed megacities while the surface burned. The Council of Nations had poured their last resources into Project Ether, but when they learned of its inhuman outcomes, they shut it down, declaring it heresy against nature. Elara disobeyed. She believed in the serum's purpose, to create beings capable of living in the new earth that would come after humanity's fall. Beings that could adapt, breathe poison, endure heat, and transcend death. But each subject she tested lost not just their humanity, but their selves. Their emotions dissolved. Their memories became collective. They spoke in unison, like one mind split across 1,000 bodies. Elara called them the Etherborn. Jackson stood before the containment pod, where one of the Etherborn floated in suspension, a being of translucent flesh and light. Its eyes opened as he approached, twin orbs of liquid silver that shimmered like distant stars. When it spoke, its voice was layered, like echoes colliding through time. You are afraid. Jackson didn't flinch. No, just curious. You will not remain you, the creature whispered. Once you cross, there's no returning. He leaned closer. Then maybe that's a point. Ilara's hand shook as she held out the vial. Jackson, please. I made this to save us, not destroy what's left of us. He looked at her, softening. You once told me evolution never asked for permission. Her lips parted, trembling. I didn't mean you. But he smiled, lifted the vial, and said simply, maybe that's what makes me human. Then he drank. The transformation was immediate and horrifying. Jackson collapsed to his knees, his body convulsing as veins lit up beneath his skin like streams of bioluminescent fire. His scream echoed through the chamber, metallic and otherworldly. Elara rushed forward, but a burst of energy sent her flying back. The air itself vibrated as if reality were trying to push him out. When it was over, Jackson rose slowly. The scars on his face were gone. His eyes glowed faintly blue, his breath crystallizing the air. The cybernetic arm he once carried was now grown over with living metal that moved as fluidly as flesh. Jackson, Elara whispered. He turned toward her, his voice no longer entirely his own. I can see it, everything. The particles in the air, the decay in the walls, the heartbeat in your chest. It's all connected. Elara stepped back, fear blooming in her gut. You're becoming one of them. He shook his head. No, I'm becoming what comes next. Days passed. Jackson vanished from the city's scanners. Surveillance drones caught glimpses of him moving through the wasteland beyond the domes, untouched by radiation or the storms. The military labeled him a rogue threat, and Alara was imprisoned for her treason against human nature. From her cell, she watched broadcasts of what was happening beyond the walls. The dead lands were shifting, trees of glass sprouting from barren soil, water purifying itself, the air thickening with breathable gases again. The world was healing, and at the center of it stood Jackson Meyer. His body shimmered like a living aurora, energy radiating from him in ways that rejuvenated everything they touched. The council panicked, calling him the catalyst, a biological contagion that could erase humanity if left unchecked. Alara knew better. He wasn't erasing humanity. He was redefining it. Weeks later, under the cover of a power outage, Alara escaped. She followed the signals, energy spikes that all traced back to one location, the ruins of old Tokyo. There, amid the wreckage of skyscrapers and overgrown highways, she found him standing beside a river that glowed faintly blue beneath the moonlight. He turned before she could speak, smiling softly. "You came." Alara's breath caught. "You shouldn't be here. The council will hunt you." "They already did," he said. "They sent drones, soldiers, but they couldn't touch me. The world itself protects me now." She stared at him, tears filling her eyes. "What are you, Jackson?" He looked down at his glowing hands. "Something between man and God, between flesh and starlight. I can feel the earth breathing through me." She took a step closer. "But are you still you?" His eyes flickered with something deep, almost sorrowful. "I remember you. Your voice, the lab, the rain. But everything else, it's fading. I'm not sure what's me anymore and what's everything else." "Then stop," she pleaded, "before it consumes you." "I can't," he said. "It's too late." A roar split the night sky. Dozens of dropships descended through the clouds, their cannons glowing red. The council had arrived, armed with plasma weapons capable of atomizing even ether-borne matter. "Jackson, they'll destroy you." Alara cried. He looked at her one last time. "They can try." The ships opened fire, beams of energy tearing through the air, but before the blast could strike, Jackson lifted his hand. The bolts froze mid-air, suspended like droplets of light. Then, with a single motion, he turned them back toward their source. The sky ignited. The explosions lit up the ruins, and when the smoke cleared, Jackson stood unharmed. Around him, the ground pulsed with blue light, and vines of crystal erupted from the soil, wrapping around the remains of the ships. Alara watched, horrified yet mesmerized. He wasn't just changing the world, he was merging with it. His voice echoed through the air, layered and resonant. They wanted to save humanity. I will, but not as they knew it. "Jackson," she whispered, stepping closer. "Please, don't lose yourself." He turned toward her, the faintest smile crossing his glowing face. "Maybe humanity isn't something we lose. Maybe it's something we outgrow." Then his body dissolved into light. In the weeks that followed, the world transformed. The radiation clouds cleared. The oceans regained their color. Plants grew from poisoned soil, shimmering with faint bioluminescence. Those exposed to the atmosphere began to change too, slowly at first, then rapidly. Skin turned translucent. Eyes shimmered. Minds expanded. The ether-born were no longer isolated.